Morning, folks. How we doing? As promised, back to business today. We said we were going to talk a bit about estuary fishing, right? And I'm going to talk to you about how I approach the estuary. Um, in the summer months, you're dealing with just weed, right? And there's no way to fish the bottom, right? But that weed is starting to die out now, and certainly come the middle of September, the capacity to trot baits down along the bottom, that'll be there. And it's probably one of the most effective ways I know to catch bass, to be honest with you. They just seem to love stuff that's bouncing along the bottom. It catches their interest or whatever. I think how you do it is really important. The speed at which you do it is really important. Um, and I'm going to show you a little bit about that today and talk a little bit more about that. Um, but look, estuaries are really, really diverse. Like I live in an estuary, right, the Waterford Harbour, and it's a mile wide. Like, but you can't compare it to say Banno Bay over in Wexford, which is a small, or Cullenstown, which are small little estuaries, that demand a way different way of fishing than what's out here, like literally outside my front window. Um, so really, what I'm talking about when I'm talking about today is the likes of Banno, Collinstown, Salines, and whatever in Waterford. I'm sure there's similar down in Cork and what have you. I don't know Cork particularly well. I have fished Cork Harbour a bit. I mean, it's beautiful, right? I know East Cork has some savage fishing on it, and some really good anglers too. Um, but anyway, let's get back to the question at hand. So as the weed dies out, it's going to become possible to fish the bottom, right? So you're looking at fishing something like these, right? Which are the classic, the X layer 4.5 inch, right? Or the giant version, right? Um, Now that obviously is to imitate a lance, and that to imitate a sand eel. And you might think, oh, it's not going to make any difference. I've seen it make a difference, believe me. If they're on the lance, having the big one makes a huge difference. Um, what I would say to you is that having a range of colours as well is important. I don't know why it is on certain days bass like things in one colour and another day they want it another way. I couldn't tell you. I just know that that's the case, right, from 30 years of fishing, right? So here's another lure that I'm going to have in stock coming in from Ultimate Fishing, is the Haze Down, right? Now, it's a lure that hasn't gathered a whole bunch of attention in Ireland for some reason. The French absolutely love it. And if you haven't watched Ultimate Fishing videos on YouTube, then I advise you to go and do that. I mean, a lot of it is in French. You can't get the translation and stuff, but they're awesome to watch, and you'll learn a lot just by watching what they're doing. Like, you'll see how shallow they're fishing and stuff. So that's what the Haze Down looks like out of the packet, right? That's the white one. I mean, if you put that onto this, which is a Batchy head, right, from Decoy, that's the 7 gram one, right? So, sorry, I'll show you how to do it. You just measure it up so you get some idea where it belongs, right? Try and get it as centered as you can. Sorry, it's very difficult to do this in front of the camera because you're bound to mess it up, right? That should be about us, right? And then push, and you end up with a nice straight looking bait, right? Now you can see why banging along the bottom that would be attractive to a bass, right? So got a whole bunch of those coming in this Friday, or at the latest maybe Monday. I'm going to have them in a range of colours too, so more natural kind of stuff. And also then, I always like to have something a bit off the wall, like just a hot pink or something. Just because it can annoy fish or something. It just makes them, fish that otherwise they won't look at another lure. Like, I've often been fishing over fish that just totally ignore you. Like, just totally ignore the lure, aren't interested in what have you. and then you throw something mad at them and bang, they hit it. So generally then, when you're fishing an estuary, you're looking to fish a channel that the fish are falling out of or running in. So whether you fish the ebb or the flood is up to yourself, right? Um, but you'll be fishing the channel. What's important is that you keep the bait moving at the same speed as the current, right? So it looks as natural as possible, right? Now, occasionally I will make a cast down the current and kind of drag the bait back looking for a reaction strike if I think there are a bunch of fish sitting in a hole or something, right? But usually if I'm kind of finesse fishing and trying to present baits very naturally, I'm casting up the current and just holding the rod up and feeling it just tip down, tip down, tip down. And believe me, when the bass picks up the lure, you'll know it, you'll feel it. And make sure to give them a good bang and set the hook. Fish singles, you'll do a lot less damage with these little fellas here than you will with a big treble hook, that's for sure, right? There are also other ways to tackle it, like if the weed is particularly bad, you can move on to a jig head like this one, which is the Violence from Decoy, or it might be Exorus, or is it Decoy? Just I'll have to look that up. But it's the Violence jig head, and you can see it has the offset hook attached, right? And that's a little megabass spindle worm attached to it, right? And that will just give you that added bit of cover from, that cabbage that's on the bottom, that weed, right? You can also fish on that kind of weighted hook, right? So when the tide completely strips out of an estuary, if the fish have come out, they've got to have gone somewhere, right? That's what you got to think about. So go out the front of your estuary on low tide and look around, like hunt the ground, look at the ground and say, like, where are these fish going to lie? Because they're not going to go a long distance. Like if the fish are in and out of the estuary, they're just going to go out and they're going to sit in the kelp beds, or they're going to sit up on the reefs or whatever is outside of that estuary, and a lot of the big fish you see being caught, that's how they're being caught. Like they're being caught out in the front, just slinging a bait out and twitching it back slowly. Like the rule of fishing for me with bass is, when you think you're going too slow, slow down. Somebody texted me last night to say thanks for the advice, right? Because he was just dead drifting hard lures down through the current and giving them the occasional twitch, and boom, slap, you two fish. And I thought, that's great. Like, I just was delighted for him, because he's been having a tough season. We all have been having a tough season down here. Like the bass fishing has been really tough this year. Like, I mean, I have no explanation for it. Other baits I use in the estuary, we talked about a lot already, are Topwater, and poppers seem to have gone out of fashion, right? Now, I don't fish my poppers with trebles on, right? I take that treble off and I put an assist hook on. I don't have one handy, but an assist is a hook on a wee bit of cord, like on a wee bit of braid, and you can just dangle it off the bottom, right? I might have one on a needle there, hang on. Yeah, I do, lovely. So that's what an assist looks like, right? So I drop that off the middle, right? And then I put a single on the back, and I hook them up every time. It makes no difference to my hook up rate, right? Now, some of the baits I wanted to talk to you about. This is another one, the one-up shad. Again, never seems to have been particularly popular in Ireland. The French absolutely will kill for these things. I fished them, I've been fishing them 20 years. I mean, they are lethal. And am I trying to promote my business? Yeah, of course I am. Sure, why wouldn't I be? Like I took everything I have and put it into this business. I'm taking a huge risk. I'm 51, like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to get many more shots at building something, like, so yeah, of course I'm trying to promote my business, like. Does that mean that I'm trying to sell you tat though, or telling you lies? No, it doesn't. I wouldn't do that. Everything I sell is stuff I fish with. I will not sell stuff I don't know or haven't tested, and I don't know that that product is a good product and works as stated on the packet, if you like. And that I can tell you. If you Google or YouTube One Up Shad Ultimate Fishing and watch the boys fishing those out of the boats and in the estuaries, I mean, incredible, incredible results. Now that's a color called Gold Shiner, right? I love that color on sunny days. You know why? Because the sun catches the gold and it glints and it catches the bass attention, right? Sorry, I just want to put this back in the box. So I'm gonna have a bunch of those coming in a bunch of colors. They're worth exploring. The other thing I'm gonna have a bunch of are these bad boys, which are the One Up Shad from the same people who brought you the Do Live stick. These are not the One Up, the Do Live Shad, right? From ISO. I'm gonna have a bunch of those. Those are super. And I'm gonna have all sorts of lead heads, but particularly these for estuary fishermen. Those and the Coyote and the Ulti head, I think, are probably the most useful. And you want to have a range from 5 to 15 grams. Like, chances are, if you're having to use more than 15 grams to keep it on the bottom, it's running too fast to fish, right? So what I tend to find with estuaries is the first 2 hours are easy to fish because it's not running so fast. The middle 2